and is making it go international as he heads over the Atlantic Ocean for stone skimming. Phill Bloxham, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the Breakfast Show here this morning.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here.
I love this. Stone skimming for me just reminds me of being on holiday and just kind of whiling out the time and whiling out the hours. But actually, there's something quite professional about it, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. So it's something that most people have done just as they walked by, they saw a stone and they skimmed it. But it turns out, I found out a few years ago, there's a whole professional world behind stone skimming. It's really competitive at the top end.
That's amazing. And one thing which I'm seeing more and more of on my, it's like they know that we were going to chat to you. One thing I've been seeing more and more on my social media feeds are these epic stone skimmers where they can clear entire widths of lakes. And usually whenever I skip a stone, you do I get one massive jump and then it plops in the water. Whereas if you're good at it, you can get it just skimming across like those lizards and it just floats across the top.
Yeah, it feels like magic. So I'm one of those skimmers that can skim an incredibly long way. And I have never stopped being amazed by it. Every time I skim a stone, it's as though it's the first time I've seen it. And it's genuinely mesmerizing the way you've got a stone, sort of a dense object that will just bounce along the water for like 15, sometimes more than 15 seconds before it sinks. It's amazing.
That's a long time. If you were to count that out right now, you'd think, gosh, that's a long time. How does it work? Have you done much about the physics of it?
Yeah, so there have been studies in the past where they've spoken about the actual the distances and the angles that you need to throw the stones at. But I think in real life, human minds aren't good enough to go, that's 20 degrees. So in theory, it should be the stone hits the water at 20 degrees and the stone is angled at about 20 degrees. In my opinion, you should focus instead on just ensuring that the stone hits the water in a manner where it's going to touch the water and bounce along rather than go into the water. And as long as you get that first touch right, it will keep going as long as you put the power behind it.
And how do you leverage your power? Are you right arm, left arm? Have you got your leg going up as if you're a 10-pin bowler? What's your technique?
So I'm quite a simple stone skimmer. I'm right-handed, and I just kind of waltz on up there and I just launch it. I don't have any kind of flourish. And I've always been very powerful at throwing. So when I throw that stone, if I get it right, which I usually do, it will glide across the water. My best skims are in excess of 150 meters. And when I'm counting the skips,
150 meters.
Yeah, it's in the Welsh Championships a couple of years ago. My winning skim was registered at 140 meters, but I've recorded it with my drone more recently, and the best I've actually recorded is 157 meters. And it still amazes me every time I do that.
I mean, how can you still even see the stone after the drone? You've got to have a bird's eye view on it.
Exactly, yeah. So you can just about see movement in the distance, but it's a long way away. So without the drone, I'd have no idea how far it's gone.
So where's some of your favourite spots to go skimming around Pembrokeshire then?
Around Pembrokeshire, my absolute favourite spot is sunrise at Carew Castle. It's absolutely beautiful. You get the sun that just comes sort of over the trees and the castle. And I've got some really cool videos on my Instagram page where I've just skimmed across the whole lake and the sun's behind me and the reflection of the castle. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then up all the beaches when the waves are nice and calm, it's nice and flat. Hobbs Point in Pembroke Dock is really good as well. Just skim away from the boats.
I think that's wise advice, isn't it? Particularly if you're going to be throwing it 100 meters. No one's safe when they're around you on the water.
Yeah.
And how did you get into this competitive nature and get into these Welsh Championships? Give us a bit of a history.
Well, so I always skimmed stones as a child. I spent my whole youth skimming stones and climbing trees. And I went down to Devon in 2022 to propose to who is now my wife. So it was a successful trip. And a random lady just shouted when she saw me skimming. She said, "Oh, champion stone skimmer over there." And then just 2 weeks later, my mind just went, hang on a minute, what did she say? And I looked it up, and it was 2 weeks before the Welsh Championships. So I went along, and it turned out I was pretty good. And I've just got better and better since then. And I just love skimming stones. And at these championships, you've got such nice people. So it's not just being great at skimming stones. It's the whole social element of it that's really, really lovely, with a load of adult people who love throwing stones. That's my kind of person.
Adult people that like throwing stones. And, well, it's taking you further afield than Devon and the Welsh Championships. Where are you heading off to tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning, I am jetting off to Patagonia to be the head judge in their first ever national stone skimming championships, which sounds too good to be true. All of your listeners are thinking, no, Phil, it's a scam. It's not a scam. I've got the tickets. It's real. So what they've done is they've looked me up at Stone Skimmer on Instagram, and they contacted me and said, we're doing this competition. We would like you to come and add legitimacy and prestige, those are their words, not mine, to our competition. And I helped them set it up, sort out all the rules, get the layout sorted. And yeah, I'm going to be stood at the side on a little platform, and I'm going to be counting the skips for all the people that do it there. So it's about the number of skips rather than the distance in this competition.
Oh, wow. Now, these videos that I referred to earlier, some of those skips, they're really close together and really quick. How are you going to, is that with like one of those little thumb tickers like you get at nightclubs? How are you going to be doing that?
Unfortunately, the human thumb is nowhere near fast enough, and neither are the eyes. So I've got some videos. So my best ever is 99 skips, but the first 30 or so are in about 1 second. So I slow it down with my drone, and it's still hard to count. So in real life, if they're not very good at skimming, it's easy. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if they're very good, which some of them will be, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you really got to try your best. And I think there is an element of human error. So it's going to be more about, if I get it wrong, hopefully I'll do it in such a way that it's consistent and we still identify the person who did the most skips. So if they do 50 and I count 48, as long as that's consistent, that's okay, because eyes just can't keep up with it. We would need high-tech slow-mo cameras to get it really accurate.
Oh, wow. I love the fact that you've been brought in as the expert for this first ever one. And they need judges, don't they? We were just talking off air. There has been scandal in the past.
There has indeed. So the World Championships last year, wonderful competition, by the way. You should all go and spectate. There were a couple of people who didn't quite agree with the rule about using natural only. So you have to find the stones from that location, and they have to be less than 3 inches. And as long as you follow those 2 rules, the stones are fine. But a couple of people decided to get slightly larger stones and file them down so that they were, higher quality stones, and gave them a bit of an advantage. But they held their hands up once they were kind of questioned on the matter, and the organizers handled it really well.
And for those that are watching this on video, and you can watch this back if you're listening on DAB or on your smart speaker, you've actually got some examples there. So to talk us through where you found these and what makes them so good.
So I've got a few different stones in front of me now. I've got some natural stones. So this is from Devon, and you can see it's got a really flat base. That's one of the most important things to a good skimming stone. And then equally, it shouldn't have any sharp edges around the sort of side that's going to be in contact with the water. Other than that, the main thing is that it fits nicely in your hand and it feels like you can throw it a long way. Those are the 3 most important things. So for those who are watching, here's one from Cardiff as well. You can see it's a very different style of stone, but it just feels amazing. And I think that's the key to it. If it feels amazing in your hand, you're probably going to skim it well. And you've got to be able to find them. Rivers are much better than lakes because of the movement of the water. So my recommendation, if you want to find stones, get onto Google Maps, find your local rivers, and just wander about on a sunny day until you find some. But just be very wary that you shouldn't take them from other people's land. So skim them in the river and make sure you've got permission if you want to take them away from someone's land.
That is very important. One thing that just caught me there is, for those that are going to watch this later, they weren't perfectly disc shaped. There was an oblong shape there, I'm going to call it. So they don't need to be perfectly round. Is that fair?
Absolutely. The roundness is a myth. When I first started, I found round stones and they excited me. But now it's a triangular type stone. So another element I didn't just mention is something to get your finger around, because when you skim a stone, it's going to sort of spin off your finger. And as long as you've got something to purchase, you'll get more spin. So a perfect circle, as beautiful as they are, they're not necessarily going to be quite as good to get that spin.
Wow. And if we want to find out more about stone skimming in general, and in particular this competition you're going to, where can we keep tabs as to where you're going to be?
I recommend you all head over to my social media pages. So I'm at Stone_Skimmer. You can see it on the screen if you're watching, or just search for Stone Skimmer Phill Bloxham online. And I've got some really cool tutorials on my page that go from beginner to getting you to a point where you can skim lots and lots of times. And I'm also very, very happy to answer any questions. Like, come to my pages, ask me, Phill, I've got this issue. How can I improve it? I really want to talk to you all and get you all skimming if you want to skim stones.
Amazing. I can't wait to see what's in store for you over in Patagonia. Are you going anywhere near the Welsh speaking places?
No, sadly not, because I do speak Welsh to a relatively low standard, but that would have been really cool. But I'm learning Spanish, so hopefully I'll learn enough to, I can at least say something like las piedras, which is stones.
Phill, thank you so much for joining us here this morning and giving us insight into the wonderful world of stone skimming that's more than just heading down the beach and trying to while away 20 minutes with little ones. There is a whole series of competitions the network that takes into it. And you are the expert this week in Patagonia. Have a brilliant time, safe travels. And be sure to send us lots of pictures and videos when you're out there. And if not, we'll be watching Stone_Skimmer on social media. Thank you so much. Have you got a track for us as well?
Yeah, I reckon if you could go for Jimmy Eat World, The Sweetness, ideally. If you can't find that, let's go for The Middle. Those are both great songs.
Oh, let's go for The Middle here this evening. It is Tuesday, rock night from 9 o'clock. John Howcroft in the hot seat. Phill, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks a lot.